Hey guys, welcome to Loomis Method Monday. Today's the third week and we're on the third line on plate 7. Last week we did line 2 and today we're doing line 3. So again, we're just working with the smooth newsprint 18 by 24. This one's Pro Art. You can get whatever brand you want. I find this one to be cheapest. And Conte Paris 1710B and the Kneaded Eraser. You can use anything. You use a ballpoint pen. The concept is the same. The first two heads, just very basic sketches. I was trying to describe how to do the wrapping around the form as the head's turning downwards, and we start to see the features, the line that features sit on are going to start wrapping around the form. And then this one here, the next two on that third line, is a guy in profile looking down, and then another head looking down and looking at him from the back. And so what I decided to do on this one, on this video, and let me know if you guys like this idea, is at the end of the Loomis head sketches, the little drawings and stuff, doing the academic, maybe doing like a real life, a real life example from a photo reference, and using those same Loomis Method techniques as we did on the in the book, but apply them to our photo reference. So let me know if you guys like this idea. So draw along with me if you can. It's really good exercise. You don't have to draw the way I draw with my pencil, holding it my weird way, but you can do it. A ballpoint pen is great. The concepts are the same. And also support me on Patreon if you can. I finally resolved the issue I had where you couldn't find my name when you searched it in their search engine. So it was because I was set as an adult content because I had some figure drawing stuff. So I had to take down certain photos and then apply to be back to regular. So that finally happened today. So hopefully you can search me now. And so yeah, you can find me on Patreon, or if you have questions, also on Instagram or in the comments below. So thanks guys, bye. So let's draw these two heads side by side, and I'll draw the other two heads pretty much side by side on a different page. Let's see, so 2 circles. And hopefully about the same size. Okay, so on the first one, what we want to look for is the cross of the face. So right where the eyebrows kind of, if he had a unibrow, like where they would kind of merge together, and then the center line of the face. So he's looking down, so it's pretty low on this sphere. Let's see, let's clean this up a little bit. And so the center line then would come down to about right here. So we get the cross of the face, and this tells us the head angle, the tilt, and pretty much is going to set the pose, the angle of the head right off the start. So let's go ahead now and cut the sides of that sphere off, because our heads aren't perfect circles, but more like cylinders. So we're going to slice that side off. And so what we want to start thinking about as the head is looking down, things are starting to wrap around the cylinder of the face. So these lines that used to be straight across the face, pretty much, when he was looking directly at us, like on last week's, I think it was last week's video, and this one he's looking down, so all these thirds of the face, like the hairline, the brow, the bottom of the nose, and then the chin. All those lines are going to start wrapping around the face, and including the mouth too. So if we have the mouth, probably somewhere over here. And let's go ahead and place in a little wedge shape, a little glabella shape of the nose. Just a very blocky shape right now, overall shape of the nose. And you see the corners of the mouth about right here. It really just depends on the person, but he is looking down, so we should probably bring this up a little bit closer to the bottom of the nose because of that perspective, and try to get that mouth to look like it's wrapping around the cylinder of the head, and then the bottom of the lip about right there. So everything's wrapping around, and let's go ahead and place in, we can actually use that circle rhythm that we put in originally, and it actually lines up nicely with the cheekbones, or at least pretty close. So we can come over here and mark those in. And he's got a little rhythm for the mid-cheek furrow. And now let's come in and at a slightly more angled line, kind of place in the jaw structure. And I'm going to go place the neck. I'm going to make it a V shape again. Like he's wearing a V-neck shirt or something. So the center line, maybe about right there, just looks better to me than having it like just open, like no end to it. So again, very important concept, things wrapping around the cylinder of the head, including the mouth. And so our hairline is up here. And actually, let's place in the ears now, since we have the thirds. And in general, it's a general rule, it doesn't apply to everyone, but bottom of the ear is on the line where the bottom of the nose is, and the top of the ear is on line where the eyebrows are. That's a very, it's a rule of thumb, and it really depends on the model you're looking at, but we're going to pretend like this one is perfectly like the ears are set on the middle third. So because of it's wrapping around the head, the ears are going to appear to be going upwards because he's looking down. So we can just follow that line over, and it will help us find the bottom of the ear and top of the ear. So let's just put our blocky shape outline of his ear. And this one kind of came up a little too extreme. That's better. Okay. So because these lines are wrapping around the head and he's looking down, the ears are going to go up. And that helps us give the drawing the feeling of him looking down too, is having the ears rise up on the head a little bit further. So for me, I like to come in at this point and make that side rhythm for the temporal zone of the head. And then we have the hairline here, and then we can connect to that side plane of the head. And for the, I guess you call it the sideburns right here. So you get this nice outline of the hair. And you can see he's got some rhythm lines for the shape of the frontal bone right here. Riley does just a full-on circle rhythm, and Loomis is, in this drawing anyway, he's just indicating that rhythm ever so slightly. But you can actually just make a full circle if you like for that indication of the frontal bone, and it helps you kind of like understand the plane changes that are happening as well. And then here he has the orbital bone, the eyebrow structure, the bone above the eyebrows. So I'm kind of adding a little bit more information, a little bit more structure that I know from the Riley method and other ways of constructing the head. But I can see how he's doing it as well, because I can see these indications of the side plane, the orbital bone, and the frontal bone too. So let's go into the eyes. And so he has this nasal jugal groove kind of thing, like the tear duct groove. And he doesn't draw in the orbital or the eyeball shape, but I think it'll help me if I go ahead and do that, because it kind of shows how that the eyeball is tucked underneath the brow. And let's see, let's try to make this more flat in the front. Let's kind of clean up the lines a little bit. So we got the cross of the face. So let's see, these inside corners of the eye, you can locate those by going on the outside of the nostril and coming straight up. So right there. And then I'm going to draw that eyelid as if it's wrapping around the sphere of the eyeball. And then he has a bottom shape of the eyelid. Let's do this other side. And you can see like a little bit, it's hard to tell in this drawing, but actually let me put the top of the ear in. But it looks like he has a rhythm that comes down from the ear to about right here. And I'm wondering if that's that same Riley rhythm where it comes down to the corner of the mouth and wraps up and over, which kind of helps you see the zygomatic arch kind of structure of the face. So we can come like this. And he's got this kind of mid-cheek furrow going on too. Matches up with the cheekbones. So the main idea though here is to think of the head like those thirds of the face, the lines that the features are sitting on. Think of them as if they're wrapping around the cylinder of the face. I think that's the biggest takeaway from this, and also finding that cross of the face at the beginning. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for that one. Okay, the next one. Now I'm looking for the cross of the face. If I came straight over, we had, this head is about right here. That's the old position. And he's much lower now. Let's see, so he's more like down here. And let's place that circle in a little bit darker, make sure you can see it. Okay. And then, same thing, we're going to cut the sides off. And I want to make sure I got the same size head and take a measurement on this one to this one. Okay, that's pretty close. Cut that off. Let's clean up this line. I think I got that too angled in. That's probably about right. So see the cross of the face here, and we're wrapping around kind of at this angle. This one's going to be much more extreme. So he's really looking down, and his hairline is much lower. So over here it's up here, now it's like down here. You get the center line of the face. You can even just pull a rhythm for the top of his head coming off that hairline. And then his nose, like his nostril is going to line up pretty much on this line, but the tip of his nose now passes it. And we can see much more of the structure of his nose. Well, not the structure, but like we're looking down at down on top of his nose more, so we can see a little bit more shape. So maybe about right here. And the nasal bone kind of comes down. So this line is really wrapping around the head. Let's see. And let's find the bottom of the chin. Maybe about right there. But let's go to the mouth. So you see the distance from the top of the lips to the bottom of the nose. It's quite substantial on this side, but here they're matching up pretty close. And these lips are going to wrap around the cylinder as well. Get the corners of the mouth. And the bottom lip. Bottom of the chin. Get the angle of the jaw. Let's bring the chin down a little bit. mid-cheek furrow kind of rhythm that he has. And the cheekbones, it kind of like shows how they pop out a little bit on this angle, looks like. Let's clean this up. And place in the neck. And then let's do the ears. So same concept. The ears are wrapping, or they're on that line that wraps around the head, bottom of the nose and the brow. So we have the bottom of the nose over here. We have the ear, bottom of the ear on that line for the bottom of the nose. Let's come up to the other side, bottom of our ear. And then for the top, we follow that brow rhythm, and they're really far up. So over here. And now we can place in the overall shape of our ear. Let's go ahead and, can't see much of the eye, but let's go ahead and work on that a little bit, because now the eyeball is so tucked underneath the brow that you can't really see much of it. And then it looks like about right here, you can still, he doesn't really indicate it that much, but I was going to talk about like that brow rhythm, like from side to side, but in his drawing he doesn't really showcase that much, but he does show the side plane right here. And then the hairline from side to side wraps around the front. And it comes down to the side. So that's pretty much it for these two heads. They're just showing you how the head wraps around, the features wrap around the head in this perspective. When he's looking down, things are wrapping around, and the ears are basically going higher and higher on the head. Let's see. In relationship to like where the jawline is and stuff like that. Let me clean him up just a little bit. Make sure I got the jaw corner, the angle on the same side, and the same height. Man, these are such good exercises to try to just get you to think about the three-dimensional aspect of the portrait when you're drawing it, and thinking about those lines that the features sit on and how they change shape and perspective. Okay, let's do the next two. For the next two, they're both looking down. One is in profile, the one is from the back, pretty much. We're looking at the back of his head. I'm going to do those side by side as well. Let's do two circles. I'm trying to leave a little room for this other one. So, let's see. Let me move this over just a little bit, because his face is facing on this side, so. I might make him just a tad smaller, just to fit him on the page easier. So, let's see, this guy. I'm just trying to place these circles how I want them. Okay, so for this guy where he's looking down and in profile, we don't really see the cross of the face. At least we don't see the center line as much. It's pretty much on the ball, right? So let's just look for the angle of the head going through the brow, and then just all the way through to about like right through the top of his ear and the eyebrow. And now we'll come over here to let's do the front of the face, the whole overall angle or shape of the front of the face. And now I'm going to do the thirds of the face, starting with the hairline about right here, bottom of the nose, and then bottom of the chin. So right away we can kind of see what's going on. Just looking down. From this point, let's get a good sense of the side plane of the head. So let's sweep for the brow a little bit, and then we come down. And this gives us that point of the eyebrow, and that's about where the side plane of the head will start, and it wraps around. And we have our ear line right here, like the top of the ears here. And if we take bottom of the nose and come across, we can find about where the bottom of the ear will be. So this will be the top, this will be the bottom of the ear. And we come in here and we cut this in half, this circle right here that we made. So we pretty much cut that into 4 pieces. And then the ear will fall in this quadrant here. So we have this circle. Let me just make it a little bit more pronounced. And we have the circle of the head, and the brow sweep, and then that's where that inner circle kind of starts. And then we cut that in half already with our brow line, and then we cut it in half again, and then we find the ear will be placed somewhere in this quadrant. It might be a little bit at an angle compared to that line, which most likely it will be. Depends on the person, of course. And the ear might even be just a little bit longer than exactly at the bottom of the nose. Everybody's ear is different, so there's a lot of room to play. You don't have to get locked in trying to make everything fit inside these quadrants or whatever. So it just helps you get in the right area, and then from there you can make your estimate or educated guess a little bit better. So we know the ear is in that spot, and then we can come down now. We can come down with the jawline. And we have sort of like this rhythm here for the lower portion of the face. It kind of sweeps, and then we can place in the mouth. But let's do the nose first. Do a little angle for the bridge of the brow, and then down to the bridge of the nose. And then the tip of the nose. Just place in our nostril shape. And now for the mouth, we can look for it's not, I said this before in the other video, I think, it's not the corners of the mouth are not halfway between the chin and the nose. It's actually closer to the nose than the chin. So it's more like on this line here. And then I can come down here, make the corners of the mouth, and we can bring the front of the lips. And then the bottom lip. Let's clean this up. I have his chin. And his neck, let's see, neck is about right here. And the back of his head, I need to place a little bit more mass on the back of the head. It's not a perfect circle. In profile, the head is actually a little bit longer than just like a perfect circle in general. Again, it's like everybody's different. Some people have very flat heads in the back. In this case, it's more long, so you see like a lot more space here between the back of the ear and the back of the head. And then right about here is the mastoid process, and you can see that sternocleidomastoid mastoid muscle comes off of that and comes down to the sternum down here. I'll just try to make it come to a V-neck. So let's go back now to the eyes. We're almost done with this little exercise. You got the sweep of the brow, with the angle. You kind of think of this ball. He doesn't really show it, he just kind of draws very angular on these little exercises. Sometimes it helps doing like a sunglass shape. And then you come over here for like the rhythm of the orbital bone. And then come in with the eyelid. So kind of playing with the structure to help guide where things go. I find very helpful. The cheekbone, so the zygomatic arch, you can do that rhythm that you see me do so often in videos. And I like this rhythm because I can just right away kind of place in where his cheekbones are from there. So he kind of has it in a funny spot actually on this drawing. Then let's go ahead and place the hair on him. So the hairline was here, and it curves over, and then when it hits that plane change right here, it kind of drops down, flattens out, and comes over here, and we go into the sideburn. Alright, that's pretty much it for him. Let me just clean up some of these lines. Place a little bit more information for the ear. So the ear, like, remember we initially did the line that goes through the top of the ear to the brow, and then we cut that in half, and then we did it half again. the ear falls in that quadrant. You don't have to like try to make it fit exactly in there. It's just to get you in the general area in the ballpark, and then adjust as you need depending on the person that you're drawing. But it gets you thinking about the structure of the head and looking for these rhythms, like right here. And people, you can actually see like some tone change right here, the value change because of the plane change, the shapes of the head, and the same thing with the cheekbones. And so it's good to learn these structures and basic shapes of the head so you can see better when you're drawing from a live model or from a photo reference. Okay, next one. So now we're looking at the back of the head. He's looking down and we're looking at the back of his head. So let's make the top. Let's see, so we have our circle. Let's see. And so there's no cross of the face, but we can find the center line of his head, and then the back of his neck, and we can find the overall shape of the side of the cheek there, just pulling an angle. And let's see, so his hair comes over the top, comes down, you can see the front. So about right here is where that brow ridge protrudes out. And then the cheekbone is going to overlap that. And then that comes straight down to the jaw, the chin. And then right here there's a little bump, and that's where the mouth is. So that's actually wrapping around the mouth from the other side. It's a really fun angle, actually. I should do more like this. Drawing practice. So the neck, and then the neck on this side. Maybe it's a little bit more. Go side to side. Change that center line a little bit. And his hair comes to about a point over here. Comes around. There you go. The nape of the neck. So his ears, so you see this line kind of comes up. If we pull that all the way, and this one too, for the brow, and then his nose, you can't even see it, it's on the other side, but that line probably wraps around his head like so. So we're looking at the back side of the head, seeing where those feature lines are wrapping around, and then you can come over here, get that sideburn, and then the start of the ear. So the top of the ear is here, and the bottom is here. So the same concept with those feature lines wrapping around the head as a cylinder. The same is happening on the other side of the head. It's like an angle of the ear I like hardly ever draw. I think you should be able to see a little bit of the back of the ear. Let's see. Hair comes down. So that's pretty much it for him. And for today's little exercises, running off the plate 7 off of Loomis Head and Hands. It's a really good page, and we'll continue next week on the same thing, same plate. And if you can, try to do these. They don't take very long. You can spend 20 minutes on a head and just get kind of warmed up with it, getting used to the structure and how the head kind of like behaves in different angles. And just sketch them out throughout the day, doodle them, try to do them from memory. It works really well. Okay, so for like a real life example, because drawing Loomis heads are really good exercises, but I don't know, I find them kind of boring, but important. So I like to use, I'll do the sketches, the Loomis little sketches, and then I'll look for like a photo online and try to do the same thing, basically, trying to think of those structural lines and finding the cross of the face. So like in our example here, again with the circle, and she's looking down and it's a 3/4 pose. So to find the cross of the face, it looks like it's probably about right here on this line, and then the center line would be about right here. So there's the cross of the face, and if I pulled that angle all the way through, and then her hairline is right here, about probably a little bit lower. And her nose, I'm looking at about where the nostrils are, not the tip of the nose, but the wings of the nostrils sit. About right here. The tip of her nose is going to go a little bit further past, and then her chin is about right here. So now let's look for that glabella shape, that center, and then I'm going to find the angle of the nose. And I'm just do a very basic block shape of her nose outline, basically. Hair, or the brow is going to arch on her. She has a pretty good arch, and she's looking down, so the arch is actually flattened out, but you can still see it, especially on this side where it wraps around the head. So let's think about that side plane change of the temporal zone. That's probably about right here. And then I'm going to come across, cut that in half, and cut it in half again. And her ear is going to be somewhere in this quadrant. Just want to fix this nose a little bit. Probably help if I have some structure on it. Okay, now let's look at the line that the features sit on and how they wrap around the head. And same for the nose and the hairline. And then the chin. So the jawline for her would come down something like this. And then we get that far side cheek. Come over here. Her neck about right there. Neck over here. I'm just going to place in like an overall shape of maybe like the t-shirt that she's wearing. And the forehead. And then she has all this hair that's piled up on her head. So you can see, just following the Loomis rhythms really helps. So we get that brow ridge from side to side. You can see a little bit of a forehead rhythm. Now let's do the eye socket. So we can come across and think about that sphere of the eyeball. And it's tucked underneath her brow ridge. It's all underneath the bone right here. And her cheek on the far side comes out from behind this brow ridge structure. Let me clean that up a little bit here. Make this area a little bit more round for the position of the mouth. We'll get back to that. Let's go back to the eyes. So I have the kind of eyeglass shape, sunglass shape of the eyes. And then we can do this rhythm for the orbital bone. And then locate the inside corner of her eye. It's about right here. This side. She's got eyelashes. I'm going to leave the cross of the face just for reference. That's one of the steps that we did, that initial step. And then let's come down to the philtrum in the top part of the lip, the Cupid's bow. And her lip is still, there's still some distance, so it's not as extreme of an angle looking down as that last drawing that we did, or I think it was the second head actually. And then looking at this nasolabial fold, and that's going to come down and kind of help us locate the corner of the mouth. And it looks like it lines up about, if I did a plumb line, a vertical line to find the corner of the lips, it looks like it might be about right here. And again, these lips are wrapping around the form. So all these features are wrapping around the head. So let's kind of try to really push that idea. And we need to bring our chin up too, it looks like. Let's see, so let's place the feature, corner of the mouth. It's pretty thin right here, then comes up. Then the other side is so, it's like a sliver of that lip is being shown. And that comes up and around. Can barely see that side. And then her bottom lip comes out. Bring that in a little bit, it's a little too far out. So see how that bottom lip is still wrapping around. You want to show it like wrapping around that form, wrapping around that head. And then actually her cheek and her chin is different, a little bit different shape. So what's happening here, it looks like, let me clean that up. So we got the corner of the mouth right here, and her cheek is coming down, and then curves around, and then tucks behind that bottom lip. So let's make that lip a little bit bigger. Move it a little bit forward. So this cheek comes right behind that bottom lip, and then reemerges as the chin. Then up to our jawline here. So again, I want to show that wrapping around the head. And to place the ears, I think actually this needs to wrap a little bit further. Let's see. As we're coming around. Didn't quite get that angle at first, but there we go. And then bottom of the ear comes to about right there. So it's following that line, that feature line of the nose that comes up. So the bottom of the ear is at the bottom of the nose. Top of the ear is at the brow line, which would be about right here. And that is also in that fourth quadrant, which you can hardly see now, but we have that big sweep for the side plane of the head, and we cut it in half and half again. So her ear is sitting somewhere over here. was thinking about these videos, and I thought maybe doing like at the end of these Loomis drawings from the book, if I did like something similar from a photo reference and try to like just try to like explain it a little bit better using like a real person, like a real photograph of somebody, and kind of going through my process a little bit too, but trying to stick mostly to the Loomis. So hopefully that helps, because they can get kind of boring just doing the Loomis, and you know, you kind of want to just as soon as possible get to where you're like drawing from life, or at least photo references. So I thought maybe this would kind of kick that off a little bit better, get you drawing faster if you're just starting out. So let me know if that works. Let me know if you want me to do like these little examples at the end. This is actually a pretty cool one. I like this. I just looked online. I was looking for a head looking down. At first I was looking for one that was looking straight at us down, like exactly like the Loomis, but that was kind of hard to find. That looked decent enough. But this one's, it's pretty cool. And that lip, I like that shape. That's really cool. I might actually try to take some photo references of models in the future with this pose. It's really nice. Let's come down here. So let's build up the outline of the hair a little bit better. So it comes here, flattens out over the ridge, comes across. Can't tell what's going on in the back. I think I'll just, looks like there's some hair back here behind the ear. I think I'll just leave it like this. And then when you're done, you can erase those lines that those structural lines that you put in. When you get like, when this stuff gets put into memory, you don't even place it on the page. You just track your hand over it. All right, I think that's about it. So hopefully that was helpful. Let me know what you guys think. If you want me to do like a little example at the end of these Loomis Method Mondays. And I'll see you next week. Bye, guys. Or actually, I'll see you Friday, because Friday is Figure Friday. So I'll see you then. All right, bye.